Hello, I'm Look Mum No Computer, and it's the new year. Nearly a year ago now, I put up a vlog about my Furby organ. So basically in 2011, I wrote this, and it's got stuff like concepts like the Game Boy synth modular. I mean, I even built like a prototype of it back then. But it's also in here somewhere got the Furby organ, or in other terms, it's called the Furby-O-matic. Oh, that's a pretty good name. Never actually got built. I mean, I collected enough Furbies, and then I ended up selling them all, which is crazy, I know. This is what I wanted it to look like. Loads of Furbies on top of an organ, and like a line. There'll be like enough Furbies to cover the keyboard. So that's my plan. And that's interesting. That's the first time I took a Furby apart for a good 4 or 5 years before that. And yes, a year later, the Furby organ is nowhere to be seen. Or is it? You'll be pleased to know that the Furby organ is actually in progress. It's not quite done yet because it is one of the biggest projects I've actually taken on. So for an actual quick introduction into the Furby organ, I actually found a video that me and my mate Lewis actually shot about 6 years ago when I started getting into all of this as a teenager, and it was actually the conception of the Furby organ. Oh yeah, well this is one of the new projects that I'm doing, and I'm trying to make a keyboard, MIDI keyboard from Furbies. Like basically a MIDI keyboard means like every single one of the notes is going to be a Furby that jumps up, his eyes light up and he dances when he goes I won't show you the whole of that video because there's some bits on Game Boys and all that stuff, but it's a few years ago, a bit embarrassing. Back then, I saw the Nervous Squirrel's crazy Furby crank box, and I was just blown away by it. And it just made me think, damn, I need to make something just as awesome as this. 6 or so years later, here I am, and it's still not built. Me, big, loving Furby. Lo and behold, after the whole year and a bit too much furious bidding on eBay, I managed to get hold of enough of these boys. Oh, that's another thing. Some of them don't seem to work yet. I want the Furby organ to capture the sound of a Furby choir, basically. The problem is I wasn't able to get a stable, definite note out of the Furby, which was a pain in the bum, and that's what slowed it down so much, is I didn't know how to actually make the Furby sing. That's when I had a bit of a breakthrough and decided to make it slightly different. So I've basically designed a synth voice for each of the Furbies, and it's called Furby Formant Fusion Synthesis. Yeah, it's got a good name, hasn't it? So basically, what it is a Furby on steroids that is able to gutturally sing as well as make its own circuit bent sounds. So how many Furbies does this involve? Well, I kind of want to leave a little bit of an element of surprise because this Furby organ is going to be done by the end of the month, and I don't want to ruin it for you. This is basically just an update to let you know how it's going. So right here is the basis of the Furby Formant Fusion Synthesis. Each Furby has 2 Arduino microcontrollers doing different things. One is sequencing certain parts inside the Furby, and the other one is adding a formant note to it to make it sound like it's singing a vowel in the back of its throat. This has taken quite a while to solder, and it nearly broke me. So this in essence is a truly polyphonic Furby Formant synthesizer. It's kind of like a Polymoog, but instead of Moog stuff, it's a Furby. So as you can see, the Furby organ is well on its way. I have, however, had a couple of setbacks, including frying some of these poor innocent Furbies. So I'm currently looking to adopt some extra Furbies. If you have 1 or 2 Furbies lying around, there's some information in the description of where you can send it. They don't have to work because I might be able to make them work again. And to show my appreciation, at the end of the Furby video, I'm going to include a list of everybody who's contributed towards the Furby organ, including Patreon supporters as well as people who have sent in Furbies. I do plan on getting this finished in the next 3 to 4 weeks, so if you have got one laying around and you plan on sending it, please send it. And yeah, come back in 3 or 4 weeks and see it in all its glory.